What's up, coffee drinkers? I'm Chad,
And I'm Luke.
and we are the Coffee Nerds. So today we are trying out Bulletproof oil in our coffee, and we're going to be discovering the magnificence of the Ultimate War. Okay, not the Ultimate War, but a battle of a couple of the early video game consoles.
Yes. So we're trying out MCT oil today, or the Bulletproof oil. It's medium chain triglycerides. Exciting stuff. Yeah, a little slimy. A little shiny too. Top of the coffee. My coffee's a little shiny.
Yeah, very oily.
Yeah.
And we only used a partial amount of what it said. It said to use, like, you're supposed to work your way up to a tablespoon.
Yeah.
This is just a teaspoon of it, and it's really oily.
Yeah.
It tastes a little bit like coconut oil
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
and coconutty. It's a little odd.
It's not terrible though.
It's not terrible. I think you're supposed to do the butter too.
The butter too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, add some ghee. Yeah, this is just black coffee and MCT oil though.
Yeah, and I like it. I'd drink this.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a little oily, just a little.
Mm-hmm.
It adds a little bit of flavor to your coffee.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, you give it a thumbs up. I've had a hard time getting into the bulletproof coffee. I didn't quite care for the stuff with the ghee. I tried coconut oil, didn't care for the coconut oil, but this is alright.
Yeah, this is all right.
Smarter, so.
I did the full-on bulletproof coffee for a little bit, and I enjoyed it. So,
nice.
we ready for some trivia?
Let's do it.
All right. So, the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, was released in Japan in 1983. It made it to America in 1985 and a year later in Europe. The Nintendo sold over 60 million units. The Sega Genesis launched in 1989 as the Nintendo was beginning to decline in its popularity, and the Sega Genesis quickly gained popularity. They had an ad campaign running directly against Nintendo, basically calling them out with their graphics and the speed of the system and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that. Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. And so with the graphics capabilities of the Sega Genesis, the console was getting bought up faster than the older Nintendo system. In 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog rose to fame as the Genesis mascot, just as Mario is Nintendo's mascot, and that helped the Genesis rise to fame as well.
The Super Nintendo came out in Japan in 1990 and in America a year later. The Super Nintendo had many more best-selling games than the Sega Genesis did. Sonic the Hedgehog sold roughly 4 million copies, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 over 6 million, while most of Super Nintendo's biggest sellers were over 6 million each. Star Fox being one, another big title, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, as well as the Super Mario games. It was a close race. In 1992, Nintendo focused on putting out great games, while Sega created add-ons, the 32X and Sega CD, and other devices to amplify its console, which ultimately hurt the company. None of them caught on, unfortunately.
Yeah. While the Sega Genesis boasted that it was faster than the Super Nintendo, there were only a few games that this ultimately affected, and that included the Sonic the Hedgehog games. The rest were pretty well leveled out. Eventually the SNES won out with all of its quality games, and the rest is history. This has been Coffee Nerds. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Let us know if you have any coffees you'd like us to try out.
Yeah, let us know if you tried Bulletproof. Just don't get carried away.
Yes, it can damage your stomach so bad that you'll feel terrible the rest of the day if you're not careful.
Run into the potty.
Yes. Small increments.
All right, we'll see you next week.
It's your pal Copy the Cup. Thanks for checking out this week's episode of Coffee Nerds. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks. Bye. I love you.
Run into the potty.